Mercedes, how are you doing today?
It's been a good day. I'm good. How are you?
I am good. And I always look forward to an opportunity to have my moment with Mercedes.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. I'm curious to know, have you heard or seen this new documentary that's out about Tiger Woods? It's just called Tiger.
No, I haven't. I haven't.
Okay, I've only had a chance. It's a two-part series. I think it's on like HBO Max. I've only had a chance to see the first part of it, but it made me think about today's conversation, and
Okay.
that's talking about kids and I don't know, maybe just that mindset. Whenever you see a talent in your child that maybe your child doesn't notice or can see for themselves, what are your thoughts on bringing that talent to the forefront?
That's a very good question. So, in addition to when you see the talent and bringing it out, sometimes you can put the talent in them. And that is all about mindset. It's all about mindset and creating an environment that allows whatever it is they desire to flourish and grow, and whatever it is you desire for their lives to flourish and grow. So, Tiger Woods' father is an amazing example. Now, I haven't seen the documentary, so but I believe from what I've heard and read before that he was what, about 3 or 4 years old when they started the whole path on golf. Is that correct?
Actually, I think he was like, from what I saw, he was even on TV at the early age of 2.
Okay,
So
wow.
the dad put clubs in his hand like when he was walking, very
So
young.
started really early. So
Yes.
here's the thing. So another father who took his children, he has two girls, took his children at a very young age. I'm sure Venus and Serena were a bit older than Tiger Woods, but he took them at a very early age and started teaching them tennis. So whether it's Tiger Woods and golf, Venus and Serena as tennis, but I'm gonna tell you about a politician as well whose
Mhm.
father started speaking into his life and programming his mind about what he would be and how amazing he would be when he grew up. But Stephanie, there is what is called muscle memory. And there is also what is called mental memory. So, muscle memory from the early ages up until you're about 5 or 6 years old, whatever you're taught, whatever you're trained at an early age, it becomes the foundation of what you're able to do and what you're able to do in even greater capacity. Such is the same with the mind from birth until about kindergarten. Those are the most formative years as it relates to what your child will think, what they will believe. And so it's very important if you have children or if you have influence over young people, because those young years are the most formative years. So, specifically as it relates to your question, when you see a talent in your child and really working to encourage it, you can do that, Stephanie, and you can have a great impact on what they end up being and doing 10, 15, 20 years from their day of birth or the day that you first see it. The biggest thing is understanding that I say this 100 times every other day, and I'll say it 100 times every other day for as long as I live. When you speak and when you think, you're always sowing a seed. And such is the same in the lives of children and in the lives of young people. So when you have a young person like Tiger Woods or like Venus and Serena, and their parents are specifically working to cultivate a skill set, they're working to cultivate the mindset of a champion. Not only are they giving them the mechanics, the skills, the physical skills, they're also conforming into their mind what it takes to compete and to excel and to achieve at that level. So even if I would say for somebody like you who is a mother, whether it be in academics, like Belk is, for all the world who don't know, Belk is literally a genius, like, right? Now, I'm not saying that because I'm her favorite adopted auntie, right? But I'm saying that because she's tested as a genius, right? She's tested 3, 4, 5, however many grade. It was 4 or 5. It was 4 or 5 grade levels above way back then. So it's probably astronomically above and beyond that now. So what you know about her gifting and what you know about her ability to master information now, intentionally cultivating that so that she embraces it, intentionally cultivating that so that not only does she embrace it, but she actually puts it to use. It's one thing to have a skill set and be able to speak or be able to write or be able to play golf or tennis. It's another thing to actually use that skill set. And so as parents or as people who have influence over young people, we have to find the fine line between encouraging them and pushing them. We have to find the fine line between making them and seeing to it that they understand that they're doing it because this is in the best interest of them.
Okay.
Yes.
And that is helpful. And like you said, finding that fine line between encouraging. So a funny story. I know we're mentioning Belk. She is now 12, going on 13. So hard to believe. But when she was 8, my years may be off, but at that time, Miss America was an opera singer. And I want to say she was either Miss Georgia, but either way, she was an opera singer. And I remember pulling Belk in to watch the Miss America pageant and watching her perform because my daughter was introduced to opera at the age of 9, and which is a lot younger than average. But I say all of that to say she was like, oh, she's good. And then she walked out the room and wanted to go back to doing what, 9-year-olds do. So, I wanted to have her have that experience because I see the talent that she has. But how would you help me, or what are your thoughts around towing that line where you're encouraging but not forcing something onto them?
So another great example is my dearest auntie, right?
Yes.
So Oprah's father gave her no choice, gave her no option.
Mhm.
When she went to live with him, this is separate and aside from her regular schoolwork.
Mhm.
He made her write a specific number of book reports in a specific time frame. He made her read a specific number of books. And while to most parents, while to most children, while even maybe to her at the time, she may have perceived it as too much and too harsh, but the fact that he saw a skill set and a talent in her, and he made her read and he made her write, I would venture to say that planting those seeds as well as those requirements is part of who she is, part of why she is who she is today. Most people don't know she was 16, 17 years old when she got her first job at the radio station. Do you think she would have been as articulate if daddy hadn't made her write, if daddy hadn't made her read? And so what we have to understand is you often hear people who work with children with behavior problems say that structure is imperative. You often hear people who work with children who are justice involved or who have been involved with the law. They say children with that type of consciousness They need more structure. Well, the truth is, all kids and adults need some structure, right? And so, if part of that structure now becomes, if you're going to sing, if you want to sing, then you need to practice a specific amount of time a day. Not only are we honing that specific skill, but we are putting a pattern in their place that will follow them through the rest of their lives. So if indeed it's academics that Belt wants to pursue, or if it's music, because yeah, she's talented as a singer. If it's music she wants to pursue, that's all fine and good. At what point do we say it's beyond just playtime and recreation, and we're going to make it a part of the skill set that fosters structure and fosters the habit that lets our children know, yes, we have playtime, but we also have to do some specific things to develop skill set and to develop mindset. So so let me pause, because you know I can keep going.
No, I love it. I'm here for it.
So there is the part of working with children that is about formulating the skills, formulating the capacities, formulating the abilities. And then there is the part that is about speaking into their heart, speaking into their mind, speaking into their spirit, that which builds their faith, that which builds their courage in their skills and abilities, that which builds their boldness and helps them to embrace that which would take them to greatness. And so one side of it is constantly telling little girls, you're smart, you're beautiful, you're adorable, you're doing an amazing job. Part of that is telling little boys, you're smart, you're strong, you did a great job. It's sowing the seed that reinforces the behavior that you desire. But part of it is speaking to the right now, and part of it is about speaking to the future. So here's what, if you look at clips of Venus and Serena and Mr. Williams when they were young girls, he wasn't just teaching them backhand and forehand. He was speaking to them, you are great. You will be number one. You will hold the number one and the number two spot. You will win a grand slam, right? So he was speaking not only to right now, amazing job, but he was also speaking to the future. I told you I would tell you about a politician whose father spoke into his life. So Al Gore, from the time he was born, when he was a little bitty baby, the stories tell us and the reports tell us that his father would walk by his crib every single day and say, you will be the president of the United States of America. Even as he started to walk, when he would walk, his father would say things like, keep going, you can do it. You will be elected president of these United States of America. So from the time he was a little bitty baby up until his father could speak to him no more, he always spoke to his future. He always encouraged him about how great he knew he could be. Now, here's what people might say, well, Al Gore was never president of the United States of America. Ladies and gentlemen, Stephanie, technically he was. He won that election. So we're not going to go through election history, but if you read the history books, you'll see that Al Gore won the election, but Florida went to the governor to be able to determine who would win. So the votes actually were thrown out at midnight. So technically, what Al Gore's father spoke into his life, every year of his life, it came to pass. So what we have to realize is when we're developing mindsets in children, go back to what I said at the top of this conversation, your every word to them, you're sowing a seed. So I'm gonna pause.
Oh my goodness, because as you were speaking, I was thinking through, with our kids and, like you said, sowing that seed. But one thing I just had an aha moment about is I find myself and I pride myself on congratulating them on the here and now, but I can do better on speaking into their future. Yeah. So that just took me to a whole nother thought process. So thank you for sharing that. Because if you think about it, using the Tiger Woods and the Venus and Serena, now as kids are focused on sports, there's a YouTube video for that, right? But really, outside of the parent or that influencer that's in their lives, I think that is a takeaway that everyone watching this should be able to think and reflect on. Am I sowing that seed into their future? Am I putting those thoughts and allowing them to hear me speak positively about their future?
And you just said something so key, Stephanie, about influencer, right? Mm-hmm. So right now it's the YouTube influencers, it's the other social media influencers. Mm-hmm. And we talked about the most formative years being birth to being birth to 6 years old. Mm-hmm. And you've heard the saying, the scripture that says, train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he's old, he will not depart from it. And so many parents, when their children get 16, get 20, get 30, they be like, who the hell raised this child? This ain't what I taught that child. But what you have to realize is at some point, somebody else becomes the main influencer in that child's life. Mm. Yes, you did the entire time that you had most of the influence on them. When they leave your house to go to school, guess what? The teacher and their peers now actually have either equal or more influence. So that's why even as they are young children, the amount of time that we have the ability to speak to them and to speak into them, we need to do that intentionally. We also have to be mindful of when those preteen and teenage struggles and tug of wars begin to take place. You often hear people say you have to pick your battles, but even in the midst of picking your battles and even in the midst of those tug of wars, you still have the ability to speak into their life. You still have the ability to be the main influencer. The question becomes, who's going to be the adult, right? And who's going to maintain the control? Because here's what I always tell people, whether you're working with children or whether you're working with animals or whether you're working with your supervisor at work, the person who causes the other person to mimic their communication and behavior is the one who is in control. Yeah. The person who causes the other person to mimic their communication and behavior is the one who's in control. So if your teenage daughter catches an attitude, and honey, I done been through this before, I got your attitude, guess who's in control? She is.
Wow.
If your son throws a tantrum in the grocery store and lays out on the floor and you start matching the behavior by you gonna snatch him up and jack him in the buggy and however you do what you do, guess who's in control? He's in control. Well, so emotional intelligence has been the buzzword for what, past 8, 10, 12 years, I don't know, emotional intelligence. So what you have to do is get emotional control over your existence. You have to up your ability to maintain your emotional control. Don't matter if the daughter got an attitude. I'm still going to have a good day. Don't matter if the son decide he going to kick the trash can over. I'm going to get him in check and we still going to have a good day. I'm still going to have a good day. So, and listen, can I just go ahead and lay it out on the table? Can I just go ahead and say it? People always say, you ain't got no kids, so you don't even know how it is. It don't matter if it's the mailman, if it's the dog, if it's your significant other. when you're dealing with human to human or living being to living being connection, the concept is exactly the same. And there is absolutely nothing that anybody can make you do as it relates to emotional response. There's nothing that anybody can make you do. Every single exchange, you have a choice whether you're going to fly off the handle or whether you're going to maintain your calm. And especially when you're dealing with children, children often end up mirroring the behavior that they saw as young people. Children often end up, so if you hear about, I don't know another example, I just have to use this one. If you hear about women who are in domestic violence situations and then their daughters grow up and do the same thing, they mirror our behavior. Whether we taught them or not, our behavior teaches them. So then the opposite to that is the man, the little boy who sees the man, he grows up and does the same thing because they mirror our behavior. Well, if now you get pissed off at the child and fly off the handle, guess what the child gonna keep doing every time they get pissed off? Fly off the handle. So the best way for us to teach children is to get a hold on our emotional responses to them, because their mindset is being created based on what they see us do, what they hear us say, and the lives that they live with us.
Wow. I love it. I love every minute of it. I wish you could see my little notepad over here. I'm like scribbling down so many notes because all of this is so helpful. And if you also, just to recap something that you just said, we all have a choice. We all have a choice on how we respond, whether we're responding to what they're doing, how we respond to coworkers, supervisors. So I think that's another aha moment for me, is we all have a choice.
We have a choice. And clearly, one of the other things I always say with mindset management and with manifesting, we have thought patterns, we have speech patterns, and we have behavior patterns. The reason we tell our son to do something and he catch an attitude and then we fuss because I'm the only one who take care of you and rescue when you need rescuing, then he storm off. That stuff happen every Tuesday, every Thursday, and every Sunday. Why? Because this is just how we do what we do. Somebody has to make a conscious decision to shift so that when whatever the trigger is that causes the response, that causes the unconscious or the conscious consequence, somebody has to make the decision to now do something different. Somebody has to make the decision that this is not helpful, it is not fruitful, it is not positive for either one of us. So what am I going to do to make sure that back to emotional control, that I get control over what I say and how I say it, that causes us both to be better. Now I gotta go woo-woo on you. If you got a question, ask me, because I'm finna go woo-woo on you.
No, you go right ahead.
So it also is all about energy, right? What energy are you emitting? What energy are you putting out when you make the request or the demand for somebody to do something? What is the intent? So intent can often run parallel to whatever the vibration is, whatever the energy is. So if the energy with which I say clean your room makes you feel less than, more times than not, you're gonna fire back. You're gonna put up resistance. And if every time I tell you to clean your room, I get opposition, then guess what? Every time I tell you to clean your room, you're gonna get the energy that you don't want.
Be like,
So now we have a pattern and exchange when it could be simple and easy for the dishes to get washed. It could be simple and easy. I have to tell you, so when I work with people, personal and professional, I have them do empower plays.
Okay.
And so one day, Tayola, my sister, she said, you know what? They're getting on my nerves in this house. She said, I washed the clothes. At least they could fold them and put them away. She said, I feel like I have to do everything, and I don't mind doing everything. I just want for them to respect what I do and give me some help. So my sister, in this vein, is like my daddy. She can go from 1 to 10 in 2 seconds flat. Do you hear me?
I understand.
But she wants them clothes folded. So she said, give me, she calls them sentences. They're affirmations and declarations. She says, give me a sentence to write to help with this whole situation.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, you're simply going to write, my house is clean and I enjoy it. My house is clean and my family enjoys it. So she literally wrote that 7 times a day, and I told her to write it for 30 days. About the 10th day, she called me and she said, now wait a darn minute. And I said, well, what is it? She said, I thought these sentences was going to make them do something different. Instead, I'm still cleaning everything up. I just don't have an attitude about it, and I'm not fussing, right?
Love it.
So when you shift the energy, it matters not how you get what you want, as long as you get what you want. And sometimes people say it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Sometimes you don't have to say a word, but you're still emitting that energy. And if we bring that right back around to our young children, Stephanie, we have vibrations and we have energy, just like when the kids are little, right?
Right.
And the mama says, you wait till your daddy get home. Daddy walk in the door and the kids straighten up. You just told them you wait till your daddy get home. So guess what they do? They wait till daddy gets home. You ever hear the old folks say, that baby know who he can act like that with?
Right.
That baby know who to toe the line with and who he can show his behind with. And they don't even talk yet. It's because the energy exchange that's going from one person to another. So first and foremost, with children, we want to make sure that what we're giving to them is love and peace and joy. Even in correction, it's love and peace and joy. Even when they need structure and we got to make them do ABC and 1, 2, 3, it's love and peace and joy. And even when they don't want to, and you told them for the 23rd time, it's love and peace and joy.
I love it.
Here's what, the discipline doesn't first come for them. The discipline comes with you disciplining you and your thoughts and your words and your energy and your emotion.
I love it.
Right?
I love it all. So everything that you shared, you have been so powerful and impactful. So thank you for always sharing your knowledge and your wisdom. So I can't thank you enough. And as always, I love these moments with Mercedes. I'm sure everyone else that is joining us on this conversation is writing down their notes, taking all the notes and taking this all in. So as always, how can individuals, professional as well as personal, follow up with you to maintain?
So we got a little pattern going on, don't you? So our pattern is, after you ask me that, I always have one more thing that come to my head. Can I just share one more thing before?
Please, let's go.
To go to your original question and cultivating the mindset or the skills or talents and abilities that your children have, encourage them to imagine and encourage them to play. The majority of adults who absolutely love what they are currently doing or what they do when they get off work, is because they're doing something that's connected to what they loved to imagine when they were young people. My sister loved to do hair as a little girl. That's what she ended up doing for a living. For me, I didn't know it, but when I did my guided meditation CDs and my dad that did the introduction, when I did my launch, he said when I was a little girl, I used to have brushes and pop bottles talking into them. So, and I think if you even think about when you were a little girl, what was your great joy? When you're doing it, it's like a beam of light. Like right now, beam of light, because you like sharing with people, you like the camera, you like entertainment, right? So allow them to imagine and make believe. And because the people who are actually doing it, they're lit up right now. The people who can't find or touch what it is that their great joy or their great passion is, those are the ones who are longing and yearning, and like the seed of their soul is missing something.
Wow.
So allow your children to play and explore and imagine and just be a child. Just enjoy childhood and don't snatch the play from them. Allow them to have that play until they get our age. So that's my, can I share one more thing?
I love it. I love it as always. So thank you. And for those, if this is their first time having their moment with Mercedes, how can people follow up with you?
So they can put Manifesting with Mercedes either in their search engine or on, I know on the Facebook social media platform, but if in Google you just put Manifesting with Mercedes, my videos, my contact information, everything I put out to the world, it'll come up and you can just click on and reach out to me.
I love it. Awesome. Well, thank you so very much. Thank you for your time. Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
You have a good night.
All right. See you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.